Yet, it has never happened. Yet, Roe's never been overturned. Republican presidents have filled 9 seats since Ronald Reagan was elected president. 9 times the nation was warned that Roe is on the chopping block. Mm-hmm. Somehow, the blade never falls. Roe was reaffirmed this summer, in effect, by June Medical, with a majority opinion written by Chief Justice John G. Roberts, Jr., an appointee of President George W. Bush, an appointee who National Right to Life and all those groups were campaigning like crazy for, right? Well, what we've seen for Kavanaugh and Gorsuch and Amy Coney Barrett, it was to that level, or at least very close to it, for John Roberts.
Well, I don't know. It seems like Ruth Bader Ginsburg was forcing all of the other justices to vote for abortion, right? Now that she's gone, she's not going to do it anymore.
I suppose so.
That's the hope, right? We just got to keep going, keep doing this.
Yeah. And so he continues, Roe is the road runner of all precedents. Wile E. Coyote just never catches up.
Yeah, it's sickening. It's just, this is so obvious. You read this stuff and it's like, yeah, we know this stuff. We know this is what's happening, and it's refreshing to hear it. But it's incredible to me that pro-lifers aren't the ones who are going out and trashing terrible candidates. Like just saying, this is what they said here, then documenting all this stuff. They should be the ones going in and saying, these are terrible candidates, and we demand that our president elect someone that's actually going to do something in conformity to their strategy. It's not like abolitionists are like the ones who are super concerned about getting a really solid Supreme Court. We're concerned about nullification. We're concerned about state defiance and states' rights, state sovereignty.
Right, standing up to the Supreme Court.
Right. But their strategy, they should be the ones that are going out and exposing this stuff, and they never, ever do it.
Right.
They always sign on with the candidate.
Yeah. We had an article on the blog today about how the pro-life movement is being played like a fiddle by the Republican establishment. The pro-life movement is essentially a get-out-the-vote project for the Republican Party. And so they're going to go along with whatever the Republican Party does. Doesn't matter how bad a candidate is nominated. Doesn't matter how much the candidate says Roe is super precedent. Doesn't matter how much they talk about the importance of precedent and all those things. The pro-life movement will support whoever the candidate is nominated by a president with an R next to their name. Yeah, and it's to their own detriment. And so that's how you get a situation where we have an 8-1 Republican appointed majority in 1992, and the one Democrat was pro-life. We talked about this last week. The one Democrat on that court, Byron White, was appointed by a Democrat, and he was a dissenter in Roe v. Wade. So you had 8 Republican appointees, a dissenter from Roe v. Wade. It should have been a slam dunk. But because they support anyone, even that court upheld Roe v. Wade, upheld legal abortion. Yeah. And then as far as the current court, we've got Clarence Thomas, who has said Roe must be overturned, and he's all alone. He's all alone. And every time he writes either a dissent or a concurrence by himself, a separate dissent or separate concurrence, saying Roe should be overturned. This time he called it grievously wrong and must be overturned, is what he said in the June Medical case. Yeah. And no one joins him. Alito has had chance after chance to join him, hasn't done it. Roberts has had chance after chance to join him, hasn't done it. Gorsuch and Kavanaugh have now had a chance to join Clarence Thomas in saying Roe should be overturned, and they didn't do it. Yeah. So we have one justice who said Roe should be overturned. In the case of Kavanaugh, we quoted Susan Collins last week, right? And Susan Collins was saying, in my conversations with Kavanaugh, he was the most pro-precedent judge I have ever spoken to. Right? He was saying Kavanaugh thinks that precedent comes from Article 3 of the Constitution. It's not just like a theory. It's literally the Constitution, which is, that's nuts. Yeah. that's crazy, and like just an idolatry of precedent.